I see my work out in the world is to raise consciousness, to spread light, to spread compassion and more love. I see that's my work. But awareness is the beginning, and that is, oh, I'm suffering. Is there any freedom from that? Be curious about that. And yes, there is. I mean, there's many people out in the world these days that can show you a path, a way, an exploration. And then once awareness happens, the power of awareness is once you have awareness, you have choice. Before you're automatic. Without awareness, you have no choice. Oh, I'm just suffering. Oh, who's doing the suffering? Oh, that's me. Huh. Maybe there's another me. Maybe there's another possibility. So the liberation comes from the moment of awareness, and you make a choice to, I want to see if there's some other way. And once you make that choice, matter of fact, I think once you make that choice, your whole life changes. Because it starts unfolding in a different way, because you are no longer a product of the world. You take responsibility. You go, hey, I could do something about this. I could set myself free. It's curious, I find it curious that not many people seem that interested in freedom. And I don't know if it's because they don't know it's possible for them. They're so programmed to be kind of, oh, I'm just trapped, poor me. Because there's a heck of a lot of trapped, poor me thinking that goes on in the world. And if you watch the nightly news, you'd probably be suicidal about that kind of stuff. I don't watch the nightly. I refuse to fall into the blame game, which is an incredibly powerful game in the world. So the liberation is to take back your own life, your own space, and just go, oh, I am the creator of my life, and I'm going to recreate it, or expand it, or whatever terms you want to use. I think you can set a course for yourself, or you can try to be open to a further expression of who you are. And then that might arise a much greater expression. Most people live in this little story about this wide, about here I came from, da-da-da-da-da. And really our story is like that. You could live like this all the time, but you keep on going back to, well, this happened and this happened and this happened, so you stay stuck there. So if you move that out, maybe you start slow and move it out to like, oh yeah, I could breathe and settle down instead of worry for this moment. Well, that would be a massive difference for somebody who normally spins in their anxiety. Or depression, for example, a lot of people stay depressed because they focus on what they're depressed about. I mean, wow. I mean, anything you put your attention on, that's one thing I know as a mental health professional, anything you put your attention on, it expands. If you focus on how bad your life is, then it's going to get worse. If you focus on blame and complain, blaming is a crap magnet. The more you blame, the more crap you attract to blame. So, I mean, really, do you have to live this? No. And so there's ways. There are proven ways that help people move further, like yoga, meditation, tai chi, breathing, mindfulness, all kinds of practice, that prayer, whatever works for you. And for some it will evolve. Some will just become, well, I've heard there's some good things from mindfulness that you can learn. Yeah, take a course on that, or buy a video, or do something, because there's no shortage of information out there. I mean, really, anybody that's at least at all curious can get some information. And then you begin to explore, and you explore with a commitment to yourself, not to anybody else, but a commitment to yourself to evolve or awaken or free yourself from suffering in some way. You don't have to suffer. Suffering is optional. And you may be able to try to prove to me the exact reasons why you should be suffering. And the more that you try to prove those to me, the more you wire that suffering deeper. So I would rather cut that wire to the suffering, because in this moment you are totally free from any of that suffering. This moment is total liberation. It always is, if you show up here. The Buddha said life was suffering because he was talking about when you really don't question what's going on in your own mind. That's the root of all suffering to me. It's not the outside stuff, it's how you look at everything. People say, well, that situation made me feel this way. I always want to go, no. How you thought about it made you feel what you feel. Take responsibility. That's what I invite a lot of people to do, is how do you take responsibility for what's going on inside? No one makes you feel anything. If you get that, that's liberating in itself. Oh, if no one makes me feel like crap, then I'm probably the one in charge of that then. I need to do something about it. I do not have to live this way. I do not have to live in craphood. I could change it to something else. I could liberate myself by going, oh, this is my truth. And a lot of people walk around in this kind of trance habit groove that gets so deep that they only see this little narrow, this little narrow thing that they can see. It's not who they are. We are infinite beings. Our soul began someplace infinitely down that road and will continue infinitely down this road. It inhabits us on this journey. Whether you believe in lives and other lives, I don't know. It could be all happening at once. We could have multiple souls, a soul doing multiple bodies. I don't know the answers to any of that. But I do know that there's a part of us that is infinite and eternal. And to think that that part doesn't know everything that you need to know would be misguessing or misunderstanding the truth of your own nature.